So today I'm interviewing Joe Porter, owner and operator of Salon Joelle.
Hi there.
I have had the pleasure of working for 10 years. And I just wanted to ask him a few questions about his leadership role, and he's a very important leader in the salon as well as the community. So we're going to start off by asking him the question, when you first went into business, what was the vision that you had for your salon?
When I first went into business, I think that I was about 23 years old when I started, so my vision for the salon has kind of changed over the years, but I think where I started was I wanted to bring something that was more international, a flair or like a feeling to Phoenix. At that time, Phoenix was a little bit of a smaller town, and we didn't have European trained haircutting and European style salons. So I wanted to kind of take some of what I've learned when I've done some traveling to England and things like that, and bring them back to the States and initiate a salon here.
Very cool. And so how did those feelings impact you and the process of becoming a leader?
Okay. I think that, when I first started in business, I really didn't understand that leadership was a key part of success. And I think over the years I've had to really learn. But really when it comes to leadership was, you really have to use the rope to pull people, not be pushy with people. And that's really what a good leader does. It's kind of like, someone like a biblical figure like Jesus is not pushy about what he does. He just tries to turn people on to what we do. And it's really not about, what we say or what we are. It's about kind of what we believe in as a company. And, when you can find someone that believes what you believe, then they're more of like a crusader for your company. And it's not just about a job or a paycheck. So.
That's true. Very true. Now, is there anyone that you look up to that is in a leadership position that has helped you kind of form the way that you are as a leader?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't say it's been one person. Former bosses that I've had, other hairdressers throughout the years, leaders of other organizations. But I would say where I've learned the most about just leadership, there's a guy named Dave Ramsey. He does there's a book and a series of tapes that I use called Entree Leadership. And I started out listening to those, and I probably learned the most about leadership from that. Although I've kind of seen, leadership in action from other individuals, that's probably more where I learned the nuts and bolts of a leader, how to build a team, how to, create synergy in a team and unity, and, things like that. So.
Very cool. Now, what are the 3 biggest attributes that you use when you're measuring your success as a leader?
3 biggest attributes. That's a good question. I would say, as measuring my success, or if they can maybe contribute to my success, I'd say the 3 biggest assets are showing up to work every single day. That's something that a lot of people in business and just a lot of people in the workforce don't do. And I think that you have to be committed to what you do every single day. And whether you're busy or not, you show up. Whether you've got, something to do that day or not, you just show up. I think that's the biggest part of being successful that most people miss.
I love that.
Yeah, that's one. So staying committed and showing up every day. 2, I think, is being financially secure while you're doing it and not overextending yourself. Because most businesses, they start out with debt and they borrow against, get an SBA loan or whatever, which is not really necessary a lot of times in business. Instead of starting out small, proving that you can do it on a small scale, and then moving larger and growing slowly. That's, I'd say, another big thing. A lot of companies start with too much debt, and they, things start to go wrong. And then the 3rd thing is, I would say, being able to be kind of like a rebel, trying new ideas, and not being afraid to try something new and try something that no one else is doing. I'd say that's probably the 3rd thing.
Yeah, risk is good.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, what qualifications do you look for when you're picking members for your team at Salon Joelle?
That's a good question. You know, I think that probably the number one thing that I look for, well, I mean, there's a few things, but probably the number one thing I look for when it comes to adding new people to my team is enthusiasm. You know, I really look for people that are really enthusiastic about doing hair, you know, about, you know, being a part of this team. If they don't light up when I talk to them about doing hair, chances are, sometimes people come in and motivated by things like money. And, you know, someone like that, you're never going to make a good team member. That's someone that's motivated by money. But if someone is motivated by doing hair and that really excites them, that is one thing I really look for.
I think that is important too, you know.
That's the number one thing I look for.
You can't make money if you're not enthusiastic about it, you know. You can be a dead weight.
So true.
Now, what type of value do you place on the members of your team then, once they're on the team?
That's a good question. You know, I think that, you know, I do consider my team members valuable, but I also think that's kind of it's got to be a win-win, you know. In order for a team member to be valuable, they have to be valuable to you too. You know, I think the biggest problem in corporate America these days is that people aren't loyal to the corporations they work for because these corporations are not loyal to them. You know, I've seen all these corporations do things like fire people, downsizing, you know, things like this, and then, you know, you just don't wonder why someone's not going to stay loyal to a corporation. Now, I try to run things differently, and I mean, you know, honestly, I always just try to run things fair in my industry, or I'm sorry, my salon, and I always try to treat people how I would want to be treated, you know? And, you know, it's guidance a lot of times, it's coaching, and it's helping people. You can't always be always positive, you know? As a leader, you have to be the one that brings the bad news too. But it's kind of like having a child, you know, you have to be that figure. You have to be that strong figure. And, you know, employees are a lot like having children in that way. They need rules and they need guidelines to go through. They need a clear-cut path to know the difference between right and the difference between wrong. And I think, you know, as a leader, it's your job to provide that for people so they know that they're on the road to success.
And I think that goes hand in hand with my next question. I was going to ask you, what is some advice that you could give someone that may be an up-and-coming leader in any industry?
Okay. Well, I'd say a few things. One thing in becoming a leader is one thing that for me it's really been hard to do as I've grown as a leader is be able to delegate responsibility. You know, as I realized that, you know, over the years that my skills, my abilities are finite. There's only so much I can do. There's only so many heads of hair I can cut. There's only so many people I can talk to today. So being able to delegate responsibility to other people on the team and to give tasks and responsibilities to others is something that's been really hard for me to do because it's easier just to say, "Oh, I'll do it." But at the same time, too, if you ever want your organization to grow from one point to the next, you have to be able to delegate to do that. And to do that, there's a series of ingredients that it takes. You know, we call it lengthening the road. You know, you don't just give a teenager the keys to your car and say, "Go ahead and knock yourself out." You know, right? There's going to be hours of you sitting in the car with the teenager being jerked around before you would ever let that child hand the keys over and say, "Now it's all yours." So it's the same thing, you know, with someone if you're delegating responsibility to lengthen the road, see how the person does before you start giving them more and more responsibility. So I'd say that's one thing. And what was the question again?
What importance do you place on empowering others? And that's good because, you know, you kind of give them enough to slowly make sure that they're empowered by you and that you trust them.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I think the other thing, you know, just when it comes to developing a leader and being in a leadership role is, I'd probably say the other thing that's most important that most leaders don't do, because it's been a hard thing for me to initiate, is to be able to communicate. Because, you know, in an organization like ours, if you don't constantly communicate with your employees, you know, if you're not sick to death and saying the same thing over and over and over 50 times, then you're not doing your job communicating. Because this is what happens. Let's say you come into work and management or leadership's not talking to you about what's going on, about the details. You know, in your mind, you'll start to have this negative ball of garbage about what's going on. You think, oh no, I'm going to get fired. Is he going to close the place down? You know, whereas if you just had more information flowing back and forth on what's going on and what's happening, everyone's on the same page. You know, because, you know, those kind of thoughts don't start to integrate in your mind. But if the communication's not there, then that's when those negative energies kind of start. And a lot of times, you know, that's on management because they're afraid to communicate. They don't want to bother communicating. They don't think it's their job to have to communicate. And that's part of being a leader. Like it or not, you have to be a good communicator, and you have to communicate on a regular basis to your team members.
Very true, very important. So my last question for you is, at the end of the day, what do you think you could maybe grow as a leader? Is there things that you still are working on as a leader, or do you think you've reached your full potential?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you know, those two things that we touched on, being able to grow as a leader, those are both important. You know, and also is, you know, as being a leader, I think you have to be a certain amount fearless. You know, you can't be afraid to make decisions because of what other people think. You can't be, you know, thinking that you're going to make everyone happy with the decisions you make. Because, you know, I guarantee you in leadership, the way it works, someone is not going to like the decisions you make. You can't make everyone happy all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, just being able to make clear-cut decisions, you know, for a long time, until I got involved in some more of these leadership books and a little more information about being a leader, a lot of times I wouldn't know what the right decision would be. You know, a situation comes up at work. You don't know exactly how to handle it. You don't know what to do. So that creates an inaction or inability to be able to deal with problems. To whereas if you were to just, you know, it's like nothing happens with your gun if you just say ready, aim, 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 aim. And that drive, you know, you have to be able to shoot and make decisions and make, you know, if it doesn't work, make another decision. But what happens is in an organization, you drive your people, your most talented people crazy if you cannot make decisions that are clear cut and precise. And I think as a leader, that's what you have to really be able to do. You know, and you know, you do that based on information, but you have to be able to make decisions. You can't be, you know, on both sides. Yeah, you just can't really do that. So
I think that is important. Well, thank you very much for your time, Joel.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Definitely.